But if there's one universal thing that investors do not like, it's uncertainty. And uncertainty is exactly what California's cannabis industry has found itself drowning in since Governor Gavin Newsom's hemp ban went into effect last week under the guise of emergency rules to severely limit public access to hemp products. According to Benzinga's Abby Higginbottom, the move could remain in effect until March 2025 and has already caused ripples throughout the hemp and cannabis communities, with some wondering how the new restrictions will impact both industries. The broader implications of the regulations could extend beyond the state, affecting national markets and future policy decisions. And of course, it's something an already wary cannabis investment community has been watching very closely, like Seth Yakatan, co-founder of Catan Associates, whose portfolio boasts a number of forward-thinking cannabis companies, both plant-touching and ancillary, like Ardent, Can, and Ease, to name a few. During an interview with Higginbottom, Yakatan discussed the potential impact of the proposed regulations and what he believes it means for the market as a whole. Like many others, the co-founder found the proposed restrictions puzzling, especially regarding specific product categories. He said that the recent announcement by Governor Newsom is perplexing. While the action has been enacted and why it eliminates things like low-dose beverages makes no sense. The ban could drastically impact hemp businesses in California, particularly those selling hemp-based beverages and other products that have found a growing market in the state. This does not bode well for those in the alt-NIOD beverage business with products in California, he said, referring to alternative cannabinoid movement that's been on fire over the last couple of years. But it wasn't all negative remarks. Higginbottom wrote that while the restrictions may hurt the hemp industry, Yakatan suggested that they could provide an advantage to California's regulated cannabis market as consumers shift towards dispensaries for similar products. I can only see this helping the regulated cannabis market, as consumers will now, for 6 months at least, have to go to a regulated or trap dispensary to procure product, he said. I gotta give a quick little shout out to Seth Yakatan for using the word trap in a Benzinga interview. I think that might be a first. Hopefully they don't move too fast into gentrifying that term too, just like they did woke. Right,
they will.
Jason?
They'll try. They
already did.
They try to take all of the
they
good stuff
being
that we
you,
create.
Jason, woke. Did it go right over your head? But the article continued by saying the temporary ban raises broader concerns about how state-by-state hemp regulations could affect the national cannabis market. And Yakatan anticipates that each state will legislate its own hemp rules, leading to a fragmented regulatory landscape, just like cannabis. THC, I should say. It appears that each state is going to legislate this issue on its own and as it sees fit. Get ready for a nationwide game of whack-a-mole as this continues, he added. As California emergency rules go into effect, many of the cannabis industry will be watching closely to see how it navigates these changes and what kind of precedent it sets for others. On one hand, it's refreshing to hear deep-pocketed investors explicitly calling out the clusterfuck and self-inflicted wound created by Governor Newsom's announcement last week. Of course, Catan holds Can in its list of plant-touching investments, and that company's put a ton of resources into hemp-based beverages that up until last week you'd find pretty much anywhere you see kombucha or White Claw. I thought it was interesting that he said it might be a good thing in the end for the real THC market, which stands to benefit from the lost customers looking to scratch that itch with something a bit more pure, I should say. But what do y'all think? Will California's hemp ban lead to a spike in state legal cannabis sales, or is the trap just going to do what it always does and evolve in a way to get Delta-8 and other hemp derivatives back in the hands of those who want them? I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News. What say you?
I just can't wait to see the guys standing out in trench coats with a whole bunch of Delta-8 products inside. Because that's this ban is just totally ridiculous. They're never going to be able to enforce it. And shout out to Seth Yakatan. Seth Yucatan's a good friend and very smart guy. He has probably one of the most poppinest LinkedIn pages on LinkedIn in regards with all these topics. And so definitely encourage people to check out his page.
I just love the fact that he said trap to Benzinga. I think it's the first time I've ever seen trap actually spelled out on a Benzinga article.
Yes, and Brian Dombrowski says, just want to point out that Seth is part of the Glasshouse team, whom just entered the hemp side. Says, well done if you're watching, brother.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Follow the money. Follow the money.
Follow the money. I mean, they have all those greenhouses that they haven't even turned on. I mean, it's a perfect use for them because it's not like they're going to sell more weed than they're already selling now.
Maybe they're waiting on Donald Trump to cut the energy bills in half until they start doing that.
I can't wait till he does that.
It'd be great.
Drill, baby, drill.
With what plan, Jason? The concepts of plans?
Yarrow, Yarrow and Matthew, you guys have been pretty quiet so far this morning.
I have a lot of, I was trying to follow my mom's advice. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Fair enough. We can take
say
that.
glass houses and McDonald's of weed. You know how I'm gonna go. Like elbow off the top rope on all this corporate bullshit. Or some weed in your backyard. Smoke weed with your friends. Let's keep watching all this dumb shit fail.
I thought you liked to smoke hemp, Matthew.
So there's no way in which this is a gift to the regulated market. So at the risk of being disagreeable, which I try to wake up every morning and figure out a way to do that, I do not agree with Seth at all. This is not a boon to the regulated market. This is a boon only to the trap. Because the people who were buying hemp-derived cannabinoids that were psychotropic, I don't believe that there's massive overlap between those people and the people who are buying THC in a dispensary. So I don't think this is going to help the regulated market at all. What I think this is going to do is it creates not trap 2.0, but a trap 2B. And it's this second trap market that didn't previously exist that gets to be a byproduct of the Farm Bill not being updated for the last 6 years, and where states are trying to come up with a state bolt-on solution, and that's going to be whack-a-mole at best. The thing that I keep saying, though, is the genie is out of the bottle, the toothpaste is out of the tube, the cat is out of the bag, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's no going backwards. We can't turn back the hands of time, and so I see this as a reactionary attempt to say by a certain governor that they did something versus nothing before something potentially terrible happens with the lack of age-restricted access. But at the end of the day, until we have parity between cannabis and hemp, we have nothing that really is going to be sustainable. We need less regulations on cannabis, a little bit more, just a little bit more on hemp, and we need to make it an even playing field so that purveyors of cannabinoids don't have to deal with the burdensome tax structure and slow-moving regulations of regulated cannabis, but also can't just free willy it because they're on the other side of the fence.
So Yarrow, I think what you're actually saying too is that this is all preparation for some big thing, and possibly part of the October surprise when maybe Delta 8 comes out as the bad guy, is what you're saying.
The only preparation this is preparation H, okay? This is just a cool off on the flare up. It doesn't make any sense when you think about how we try to actually create some measurable, solid societal outcomes. Newsom's reaction, I think, will play decently in the press, and to those that don't know. To the rest of us, I just think it's grandstanding, theatrical optics. It's a fucking joke. And I think we need to think about how we ask for better from our politicians and policymakers on either side of the aisle to come up with either solution or to wait until they have solution. I don't see how this solves anything. And I'm not sure how they're going to be able to say that they did a victory lap and being tough on unregulated, unsafe, unage-restricted cannabinoids in the state of California.
And Yarrow, add a little bit to that. Like, what about the prices? Aren't the prices going to be that much more expensive if you're going like full THC rather than the Delta 8? Like, I'm only guessing because I don't even know what Delta 8 prices are, but I can only imagine they'd be dirt cheap because there's a ton of them out there and you can find them at fucking gas stations.
Well, before we move on, I'm just glad that we got the soundbite from Yarrow that he is trying to make measurable solids. And on that, we're going to go to a commercial and we're going to be right back.